Hello, welcome to the Let. No, I almost said the Let's Netflix and Chill podcast. Oh, check out, it's one of my podcasts on my channel. And welcome to the Reese Chanson Network. We are reviewing films, movies. Today we're talking the cover to the most talked about Sinner, starring Michael B. Jordan and directed by Ryan Coogler, if I'm saying that name right, the guy who directed Black Panther. Now, before we talk about this film, I have to say a few negative things. One of the negative things is the story is well written. The directors did a great job putting this film together, in my opinion. The writer, great writing, but I feel the story did not need vampires. Did not need this character called Remnick. It did not need him. The story itself is well enough. Now, before I tell you what happened to the film, let me tell you about a film that I thought, that I'd hoped they would have made. Why do I say the film did not need a vampire or supernatural elements to it? Because the story is well written by itself. Let's look at this. Let's break this down. I'm going to spoil a few things. We start off this film. I believe this film is place set in the 1930s Mississippi. I could be wrong. I'm not entirely sure about that detail. But this is just from my recollection of my memory. This is two brothers who were played by Michael B. Jordan, Stack and Smoke. They're identical twin brothers. Now, these brothers, or these boys, made a name for themselves. They're some sort of gangster everybody knows and fears their name. Everybody knows they went to Chicago and made a name for themselves. Now they're back in town. When they're back in town, they made enough money to get a white man to sell them land, to sell them property. And they're turning that property into a pub, into a jazz joint, into I don't know, a disco where blues are going to be played. And they're in such a rush. They buy the land to the same day, and they start opening for business on the same day. Now, that in its own is miraculous. I've never seen people put a business together, get enough heat to get people to show up to it, to party, to make money off it. Brilliant. Now, bear in mind, there's a lot of elements to this story. There's so many great things about this story. There's great musical scenes, great musical numbers. All that shit happens before the vampires even show up. Like I said, the story already had a natural villain, and it did not need vampires in it. The story would have ended the same with people dying, yes. The story would end the same with Sammy going back home, looking all bloody, yes, it still would have. What do you mean, Reese? Without vampires? You mean people would have still died? Yes. Why do I say it? I'll tell you. These boys buy property off a white man who's part of the Ku Klux Klan by my deduction. He sells them the land, let's say on a Friday, and Saturday shows up to kill him with a whole pack of white dudes. So, do we need the vampires? No, we do not. Why am I saying that? They were gonna party without the vampires showing up. I guaranteed those people were gonna party all night, and the white dudes were just gonna show up in the morning. Everybody's pissed drunk, and it was gonna kill everybody. And a few black folks were gonna fight and survive. Maybe Sammy may have survived, may have died. Who knows? But I'm still saying the story already had a natural villain in that sense. These boys defied the odds, buying property from a white man. Cash, brother. Give him all the money he demanded it. Gave it to him. He got so bitter, he ran it up to his boys and tried to kill him. Seems like a great story to me. Don't need no vampire. But hey, B. Jordan and Ryan probably felt, hey, let's get some supernatural bits to the film. And they got some supernatural bits to the film. They got us this vampire called Remnick. Anyway, you heard my idea. That this would have just been a racial piece. It would have been great. But hey, maybe they didn't want to make it a racial piece, but it has so many racial elements, so many racial aspects to it. It's only logical that it would have just been a racial piece, like black people having a great time being assassinated the next day by a bunch of white folks, or a bunch of white folks getting killed by a bunch of black folks. Ultimately, brilliant story. Racial story, yes. Brilliant story, yes. But let's get into what we're shown. Now, my opinion, my ending idea aside, let's talk about the film. Listen up, folks. If you've never watched Sinners yet, I'm joking, I'm not doing that. Okay, let's get into this insane film. The film is a masterpiece on its own, like I already said. Okay, the film stories, Smoke and Stack, like I already said, played by Michael B. Jordan. So he plays two characters in one film. Brilliant performance from him, by the way. He's out here cooking, bro. He's cooking. Completely different characters, by my opinion. Smoke, one of the characters, seems to be a stone cold, calculating, mysterious fella. Who's sort of like a man hunted by his past. And Stack is a charismatic, smooth, but relentless also, who's out here chasing the thrill. And Jordan embodies both roles with such brilliance. It's breathtaking. And then there's tension between them, like they fucking hate each other. There's even a scene where Jordan is fighting himself. He's beating the shit out of himself, fam. And I'm like, woo, that is nice. Of course, he's beating the shit out of himself as a vampire. And there's even that scene where he's trying to kill his brother, but he can't. And the vampire tries to eat his brother, but he can't. Basically saying their bond transcends common sense, transcends evil. A creature that's hell-bent on multiplying by sucking blood off other people and making them vampires sees its own brother with its own memories. It says, that's my brother. I can't eat him. Nice touch there. Nice touch. Now, the story, of course, like I said, ain't just about vampires. That's why I said the story didn't need vampires. It's about brothers, brotherhood, in a fractured time, in a bruised moment, in a sad period of time, really. And the story is built on choices and survival. You feel every stare between the two brothers. They look at each other with such intensity, with such hurt. And wow. Even at the last moments of the brothers, it's just wow. And there's also that last moment. No, let me not spoil that. Okay, I'm gonna spoil it. Well, Michael, I don't know, is it Smoke or Stack? One of them is basically seeing the light at the end of the tunnel when he's about to die. He sees this girl with her baby that died, and she sort of hands him the baby while she's in the spirit realm. Let's put it that way. And he holds the baby, and he dies just a beautiful death. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful film with so many beautiful elements to it. The skin of the vampires when they get shot, the bite marks. You can see someone really took a chunk. You know how vampire films, it's usually just two holes on someone's neck and all that? No. These vampires are taking a chunk of flesh off your fam, and they suck it all out, fam. And the whole blood gushing through someone's heart when they stab the stake to them. It's a great film. I think y'all will love it. But like I said, I just didn't want the vampires in it. I felt like they could have given the Ku Klux Klan a fighting chance. Granted, they got wiped out real quick. I felt like they could have given them a chance. They would have made a perfect villain for the film. But hey, let's talk about Ryan Coogler. His directional vision, his cinematic art. The guy doesn't miss. He's a very good director. I don't want to lie. The film is next level for me. And we gotta talk about the blues. Like I said, the juke joints, the blues, the gangster bits and the freaking vampires elements to it. It's really nice. Every element of the film is incorporated nicely. There's even this bit where Siamese playing guitar and his music transcends the soul, it transcends centuries. And then you get to see people dancing, and it's a blend of tradition cultures. I got to see African dances. It was like the music itself was speaking to the souls of those people there. There was even people break dancing. Basically, it was almost as if he was transforming, detailing the root of music, where it stemmed from, through what Sammy was singing, where it felt like he would captivate, he would entrap a whole feeling in a bottle, and he would just regurgitate it with his voice and capture the masses. And oh, wow, such beauty, such incredible singing, such great guitar playing, just wow. And with those, I don't know that a minute or what, you just see decades of musical transformation. You see dancing, you see, like I said, you see various, you even see Japanese attire because they're African Japanese people in there. You see white people there. You see music as a genre, music as a movement, all in a single moment, bottled for your entertainment as the camera sways through the room with different elements, adding in bits by bits from different decades, different cultures, different traditions, just making a perfect picture frame of awe. Just splendid. So we've talked about the music, we've talked about, and then there's a whole gangster element to it. Like the brothers are so gangster. First few couple of minutes, or first 30 minutes, I could be wrong about the time frame. This guy shoots two people in the middle of town. It gave me some Lucas Frank type of vibes. Bah! Bah! Why did he shoot him? He shot him because they looked at his shit. These guys opened the back of the bucky or the trailer of his truck, peeked through his shit, and he shot him for that. They didn't steal anything. They were going to steal, but he caught them, and he shot them for trying to rob him. Shot one in the ass and shot one in the knee. Wow. Gangster. Nothing happens. No one arrests him. Nothing. You know, when that happened, I thought I'd see white policemen rushing over. Nothing happened. Absolutely fucking nothing. And of course, I have a question. What the fuck are Japanese? Is it Japanese or Korean? I'm not entirely sure. I think they're Japanese. What are they doing there? 1930 Mississippi. You're telling me there's a white an Asian family that owns not one, not two, but three separate stores on one street. One run by the wife, one run by the daughter, one run by the husband. All simultaneously running a street. Okay, I'm gonna believe that. In a society where a white man struggles to sell a black man property, he's okay with an Asian man owning three stores. Make that make sense, bro. Make it make sense. But granted, it's a neighborhood populated with blacks, so no one gives a shit. Perhaps. Who knows? But I'm to assume all the property was owned by whites. Are they renting? I don't know. But they own it. It's not important. All I'm just saying is, this is Mississippi, 1930. There's people still picking cotton. So, anyway, let's get back to the film. Like I said, the film incorporates a lot of great elements to it. The atmosphere, the pure tension of the film between the characters when something happens or intense happens, you feel it. The sweat, they be sweating, brother. and it's just titillating how beautiful, how terrifyingly real it looks. The scenes are well made. The story is well written. Like I said, I still don't like the fact that it had vampires in it, but it's still a well made story, even with the vampires. Like the vampire teeth, bruv. Usually, when a vampire, I don't know if I already said this. Maybe I said it in the rehearsals. I'm not entirely sure. When a vampire bites you in a film, they leave two little holes here, like you were bitten with a straw or something. But this, they gashed out a whole chunk of flesh off you. That's brilliant. To me. I still feel like a lot of elements are missing. Like this, the first time we see Remnick, he's chased or hunted by a bunch of a bunch of Indians, Native Americans. That's what they call them. They are chasing him. They disappear after that scene. Granted, they disappear because it's nighttime and they don't want to follow a creature. I'm like, they don't want to attack him at night and all that. I felt like I needed more of them into the story, but it's still fine. Without them, the story still goes on. Their presence adds nothing to the story. I felt like they threw them in at last minute to show, yes, there's black people, there's white people, and there's Indians who partly ride horses and track down vampires. And I like the whole fact that the vampire itself, when it bites you, they share a memory, like it's some sort of hive mind. When they bite you, they get information, your memories, your talents. I was like, isn't it vaguely odd when they showed up singing? They all know how to fucking sing. And then when the vampire sort of explains that they share abilities. So if one of them bit Michael Jackson, they could move, sing, and dance like Michael Jackson. If one of them bit Michael Jordan, they'd play basketball like Jordan, or LeBron, or Kobe, or run fast like Usain Bolt. Pretty brilliant detail, if you ask me. And I've already told you about the story itself follows a musical aspect to it. Every bit, every scene, everything has a musical element to it. Like it's soulful and rich. But when the horror shows up, the sound sort of ramps up a bit. And with the music distorting and slowing down, sort of trying to creep under your skin with terror. I like it. The whole morphing music into something unnatural, making it chilling. I like it. And I like the fact that Remnick is not only just a vampire. It's cultural appropriation in a way. That's why this film has a lot of elements, hidden layers to it. Like every bite is a cultural bite. With every bite he takes something. Your memories, he takes your culture, he takes your traditions. He takes you. He becomes you. He bit a nigga. And then he spoke the man's language to his wife, fam. With memories of his wife and daughter and shit. So, this dude is not just sucking blood, fam. He's stealing culture, he's stealing identity, he's stealing dreams. He's draining their stories, their soul, their history. Is this a metaphor? It's genius. The execution, brutal. His presence is unsettling. It's not some over-the-top vampire that's, undefeatable. It's a patient man who's smooth, hypnotic, patient, Man watches, doesn't rush, and then he pounces on his prey. Brilliant, in my opinion. You hear him singing out of frame. And every time he shows up, there's more people around him. There's more death around him. It's just more, 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 more. It's like, my God, this guy's watching us. We're hidden in this barn here. We're hiding from him. He's coming. You feel it. The horror. You're not ready. And the sad bit about this, or the great bit about this is, yes, there's that whole element of traditional vampire shit. They can't enter your house without you welcoming them in. They're afraid of garlic, holy water. You know, the usual shit. You get a stake through their heart, they die. The usual shit is in this. But it's different when a family member, a loved member, stands at the door, tells you, "Let me in, brother. Let me in, friend." Brilliant. Brilliant. Like I said, the story from the beginning up until the vampires is a work of art. No complaints from me. Like, you've got a Sammy, a young man trying to be a musician whose father's a pastor who doesn't want him to be part of this devil music called the blues. Brilliant. So, the film is great. You talk about the lighting, the red hues drenched in candle, neon signs flickering out in the darkness, where a small portion is within the light, and then another portion is within the darkness. And then you hear Remnick and his disciples singing, approaching slowly. Your death is nigh. Brilliant. And of course the camera work, the close-ups, making you feel trapped in a box. The wide shots, where you get to see the light and the darkness, where good is in the light, and darkness, there's bad, there's evil, there's the vampire, then there's the people trying to survive in the light, engulfed, surrounded by it, in safe haven. And of course, there's also another element. You could have just waited out and let the sun take them out. Brilliant. But it makes it difficult to do that when a vampire says, "I'm gonna go to your house and kill your daughter." And this Asian lady says, "Get the fuck in the house, fam." They invited them in. And all hell breaks loose. And of course, there's the whole CGI. The teeth. The makeup. I don't know if it's CGI or crafted. Well made. I still have a problem with the teeth. I get there are people with prosthetics in their mouth and extra teeth make it difficult to talk. They had those, those Supernatural. If you've ever seen Supernatural, the vampires there have similar teeth as this. And it's pretty interesting when someone has a gold in their teeth. They've bedazzled their teeth. And then they become a vampire. And their teeth somehow, their canines and everything gets sharp. And they still have those bedazzles. That piece of gold. Nice touch. From me. Now, because I watched this in real time, while watching this, I didn't think about what the film would be better without. So I was at the edge of my seat. I wasn't necessarily screaming, but I was like, ooh. I felt sad at certain moments for them. But the film is electric. It is. Now, if you're a scaredy cat, chicken, and wuss, you'll probably leave the cinema wowed. Like wow. That's how you leave it. So, final verdict. I'm conflicted. I could give it a 9 out of 10, but I don't like the vampires in it. So I'd give it an 8. But I have to incorporate the vampires, because if I just continue the vampires and just let the white people or the Ku Klux Klan kill them, I'm giving it a what? Maybe it would have been written differently. They would add more details to it. So you guys just can't separate a film. So let's do this. Before the vampires shows up, I'm giving it a 9. After the vampires show up, I don't like it. But the whole fighting scene, everything surrounding the vampire, the way it was handled, the execution, everything, the emotional taunting that every vampire did, coercing their friend to let them eat them. There's a scene where a man begs his wife to let him in so he could suck her blood. And you can see the emotion in her face as she sort of considers it. That's my man. You see a brother trying to convince a friend, trying to convince their friend. It's lovely. There's a few sex scenes if you want that. And apparently the film has already earned over 60 million globally, proving it has a great impact on the audience. So if you're looking for a bit of horror, I don't qualify this as horror because I wasn't spooked. I was intrigued. I was interested in the details, in the film, the story writing. So I wouldn't class this as a horror, but it's classified as a horror. So it's shit that's supposed to make you leave the cinema screaming and shaking. This doesn't have that for me. Maybe for you it will. Maybe for you it will leave you shaking as you leave the cinema. Who knows? I'll tell the film is electric. The film is deep. It has style. It has bite. One unmissable bite, for that matter, that steals not just your life. It steals your soul, your culture, your memories, your history. It steals your essence. I think this is the first time I've ever seen a vampire incorporated like this. Usually vampires are smart because they've lived long and they've learned stuff. This is just a bite and I got your skills. It's nice. I like that. Okay, here's another alternative thing. Would you consider a game a video game of the same story? Yes, we've seen a lot of monster films and all that, but I think this would be great. A film where you're either Smokey or Stack. And you've got different abilities, different play styles. And you have to navigate through the dark back streets, listening for whistles and trying to stay one step ahead of Remnick, who's hunting you. And to make it interesting, if you don't kill him before sunset, you lose. If he kills you, you lose. The whole point of the game is to survive him. I think that'd be a great game. And of course, they get music. The music was playing in the background as you navigate through this film. To this game, whether it's a third person or I don't think it'd be great as a first person shooter. I think it'd be well as a third person shooter. I'd still work as a first person shooter. But bear in mind, weapons don't necessarily work. And at the same time, while you're fighting this vampire, white Ku Klux Klan members are in there to kill you as well. Basically, you kill Remnick, great. But the story's not over. You gotta kill the Ku Klux Klan as well. I think it'd be a great game. And the question would be, who's the boss fight? Is the boss fight Remnick? Or the Klux Klan? Or the Klan? Which makes it a great strategy game that relies on pure grit. Shooting won't kill the enemy. You need to stab them. That means you have to be close to them. While you're close to them, they try to bite you. And they can bite you anywhere. It doesn't actually have to bite you in the neck. I think we should definitely get hey, B. Jordan, get a game of this. Listen to what I said. So, if you've seen Sinners before or after watching this video, let me know in the comment section about your thoughts based on the things that I've said and based on your own personal thoughts. Thoughts about this film not needing vampires, thoughts about this film just incorporating a racial war between the Klan and the black people, thoughts about the film with the vampires, how it's well made or how it looks, thoughts about the whole video game idea I just laid on you. What do you think? You think it would work? Would you play such a game if they made it? The story is rich. Very rich. And I would have loved to witness it more. But it's a wonderful story. Well written. Acting is great. Like I said, I feel the story didn't need vampires. But even with them, it's still great. It would have been better for me as just a racial piece. But it's a supernatural racial piece, which makes it have a lot of depth, have a lot of character, have a lot of culture, have a lot of brilliance. It's engulfed a lot of elements. There's racism. There's togetherness, there's love, there's emotion, there's infidelity, there's adultery. A woman sleeps with Sammy, but she has a husband. The question is, where's her husband while she's dancing out at night? Nobody knows. There's a man who's in love with a white woman or a mixed woman. He cannot show affection to her because she's white and it would get him killed. But he loves her and she loves him. Nowhere in America at the time, in 1930, are they allowed to be together. Fam. And it's nice that when he dies while committing fornicationing with her before she bites him. It's nice. It's a nice way to go out. With your dick in a woman, with a dick in a vampire, it doesn't matter. It's a nice way to go out. So, B. Jordan has two love interests in this film. Two separate women. A thick woman and a petite woman. A big girl and a little girl, in a way. And he makes endless passion to both of them. Great acting for B. Jordan. Great acting on the characters and everybody else involved with the story itself. And for that, I applaud. So, what are my key points about the film? I applaud the acting, I applaud the writing, I applaud the music, I applaud the camera work, the choreography of the fight scene and all that. I really like this film. But I'll still stand by my point. I wish they didn't add vampires to the film. But even with the vampires, it's still a brilliant film. And last but not least, I wouldn't mind playing a game based off this film if it incorporates the things that I've mentioned within this video. Anyway, thank you for watching, all two of you. Thank you, and yeah, as usual, let's hang out another time. Assalamu alaikum. Now that was entertaining. Please let us hang out yet another time. Remember to like and subscribe.